The short answer, like, this is really like by the book MVP.
We actually built a few. All of them went directly to trash.
Yeah, they were terrible. One of them basically emailed us a year before we launched the product. I was like, wow, this guy really wants this product. Like, he went through all this trouble to figure out that Cloud Horizon was the one who built Vacation Tracker and wrote me an email to ask me when we're going to launch the product. Almost 9 months from the moment we started working on it until the first $25.
The big problem is that HR systems are almost always like connected to a specific country.
If your team is distributed, like, that creates problems. I actually thought this was a dumb idea in the beginning because I didn't think there was a market for it. Well, Vacation Tracker is not our first business, actually. We started another company together, which was called Cloud Horizon. We actually met on my side through my cousin, on Slobodan's side through a friend of his, because I was looking for somebody to help me do a project that I had at the time. And I came to Serbia for the holidays. And then, like, he was doing his master's degree or his doctorate with Slobodan's friend. We went for coffee together. We hit it off. We both really, were passionate about mobile technologies at the time, and mobile was kind of on the rise. And that's how we got started. But it wasn't Vacation Tracker that we got started with. We got started with Cloud Horizon, which was our first company. And then after about 10 or 12 years working together in Cloud Horizon, that's where we decided to launch our product.
Yeah, a bit less than that, I think, because we met in 2011 or 12, something like that.
Yeah, 2011, I think. End of 2011, beginning of 2012,
like that, yeah. And then we started working on Vacation Tracker in 2018.
Yes, 2018.
So yeah, before
it's actually a lot less, about 6-7 years. Mental math.
Of course, it's like Vacation Tracker wasn't a product that we are focusing on until maybe 2020 or something like that.
Yeah.
Until COVID, basically.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, before that, we worked on Cloud Horizon, which was a company where we worked with different clients, helping them to build their own products. And we started with mobile web, but we then did many different things.
And basically, we always had this itch to kind of like work on a product, especially because we were working with other clients and we didn't get to make any decisions or very few decisions on their projects. And we thought that certain things could be done better. So we were always having this itch to build our own product. And then finally in 2018, we got the opportunity to do that.
We actually built a few before that, and all of them went directly to trash.
Yeah, they were terrible. But it was at least some ideas we were experimenting with, and then finally in 2018 we got serious about it, and the rest is history.
So I don't think we had any aha moment for Vacation Tracker. We were working on some other product at the moment. The idea was to build something completely different. But then we also built Vacation Tracker because that was like a pain point at the moment. And we thought it will be just like a small thing just for us first. And then like, I'm pretty sure we have different stories for this because it was so long time ago. And like,
yeah. So actually what I remember is, do you remember we did that hackathon?
Yes.
In Cloud Horizon, where we divided the team up into two. And one of the teams worked on Beerstagram, you remember? Yes. That was like one of the ideas. And then the other idea was Vacation Tracker, because we were having that problem. And that's where we set up the landing page for Vacation Tracker, right? That's where we had set up, because I remember my side of the team had the designer, because we only had one designer. And so like some of the business and design folks were on my team. And then we ended up like designing and putting together a simple landing page, which was collecting all the email addresses over a year or so.
But we also put that GIF that was recorded after that of a Slack bot that was created like maybe 6 months later or something like that. That page wasn't live for some time. It went live when we created that small GIF with like, remember the bot that was not doing anything. You could just like select dates and do things like this. Yeah. But that was when Slack released bots, and then also like AWS released AWS Lambda. So yeah, we played with that a bit. But the funny thing about the other app that we worked on that hackathon was that basically the only developer that still works on Vacation Tracker worked on that other app.
And that was his idea, as I recall.
So yeah, we created a landing page. Then at some point we put that small video. We created basically a small application that wasn't really an application. It was just like an example how to request a leave directly from Slack. There was no date picker, so we created a small calendar with buttons. And then, because only 5 buttons were allowed.
I remember that horrible calendar. Oh, yes. Yeah, that was so horrible.
But then 5 buttons were allowed in one row. So we removed weekends and basically created a calendar of buttons that represents only work days. And then we recorded that thing, and then we published that landing page. And then I think you posted that on LinkedIn. I posted that on Twitter. You paid some ads or something like that.
We paid some Facebook and Google ads.
And I mentioned that at some conference in late 2016 or something like that. So it was long time ago.
Yeah.
And then we forgot about that, basically.
Then we forgot about that, and I think I might be jumping a little bit ahead to the point where we received the email, and I don't want to say the name here, but you know which name I'm talking about, that email from the school in California. And there was a guy that just emailed us and said, I'm signed up to your wait list. Like, when are you guys going to launch this product? And I was like, wow, this guy really wants this product. Like, he went through all this trouble to figure out that Cloud Horizon was the one who built Vacation Tracker, clicked on the cloud built by Cloud Horizon at the bottom of the Vacation Tracker landing page, went on the Cloud Horizon website, found out that I was the CEO of Cloud Horizon, went and dug up my email address and wrote me an email to ask me when we're going to launch the product. And so I came to him and I was like, wow, this guy really wants this product. Maybe we should think about building this product, like, because, I think we were going to talk about the trigger point at some point. That I think was one of the trigger points.
Yeah, definitely. But as far as I remember, like, we started at the end of 2016 as an idea, just landing page.
Yeah.
And then the next year was probably the best year of Cloud Horizon with new clients and everything. So we stopped doing anything for a year. We stopped checking that new email, new mailing list, and everything else. So everything was basically, we forgot about that product.
Yes.
Anyway, it's like at the end of the next year, end of 2017, we lost one client, and then we had one developer to assign to something.
Srdjan. We had two. Srdjan, yes. I don't want to say the other name because he's not working with us anymore. But we had two developers. Yes. They were both working on that project, and then they became free. So we assigned Srdjan to work on Vacation Tracker, and we assigned the other developer to work on the Time Tracker.
Yes.
Which was the other idea.
And the other app had like a UX designer, everything, like nice design and everything. And it never went live. But Vacation Tracker actually went live. Srdjan did some really basic things, and I think we launched the first version maybe in March.
It was around April. If you recall, I had to bring in my ex-wife to to get it launched. She was my wife at the time, though. But anyways, she came in and kind of pushed things along, and then we ended up launching it a little bit faster because we were stalling a little bit.
April 2018, and then we emailed all the people that we had on that list. It was like almost 100 emails, but some of our friends, some bounced basically.
Our moms,
As far as I remember, like we sent that email, like we decided to send emails in batches, but then we ended up sending it to everyone, but maybe like 20 people signed up or something like that.
Yeah.
And we told everyone like, you'll have this product for 6 months for free or something.
Yeah. And then if you recall, we wiped the production database at one point in July of that year. And then we had to extend the 6 months as an apology to say like, hey, whoopsie, we made a little mistake. So we're going to give you an extra month because of this mistake.
I remember that because like we figured out that the backup is not working, of course. But we managed to return all the data, and now we have proper backups and everything from that moment. But yeah, it's like it's happening.
Yeah.
And then we integrated Stripe finally like in August or something like that and start charging people.
Yeah.
The first payment went through in August.
It was late August of that year,
something like
that. So it took us about almost 9 months from the moment we started working on it until the first $25 came into our account.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
We tried to solve our own problems at that moment. And one of the problems that we started having when we hired maybe like 15 people or something like that in cloud, when our Cloud Horizon team reached 15 people, is like, who will go on vacation, when? And people often ask like, how many days do I have left or things like these. And then we checked like our calendars, our spreadsheets and things like this.
Yeah.
And it was one of the real problems we had. It wasn't like a huge problem, but it was like important even for our small team.
It was annoying. And also it was like, the other problem was that there was multiple people in that Excel file.
Exactly.
And so you're like, did they add those days already or they didn't? Then you have to check the version history of the file to see if somebody made it was not like the right way to manage this.
Yeah, then we saw that it's not manageable if we continue growing. So we actually tried to find some solution. But as far as I remember, everything was either too expensive, like HR systems and things like these, or like I don't know.
I think there was only one other point solution on the market at the time. And we didn't want to pay like whatever, $8-10 a month per user for an HR system where we're only using one module of the HR system. And so I remember it a little bit differently. I'd love to be able to say how like we're so smart and like we came up with this idea and we like mapped it out. And like it was actually just dumb luck, I think, in the sense that we had a couple of different problems. We chose to scratch our own itch, in other words, solve our own problem.
Exactly.
And this just happened to be one of the problems that we were having. And if you recall, I actually thought this was a dumb idea in the beginning because I didn't think there was a market for it. I thought there was like just little companies like Cloud Horizon, they're going to need something like this. But I was pleasantly surprised when we launched that actually this is, wow, there's actually bigger companies and like not just companies, but also different types of organizations.
Fun, actually. Like once we launched, we thought just small companies will use it, but then we had some signups from some really large companies, small teams from large companies. But then like at some point, like we even had some like really huge company breaking our sign-up system and everything. Like,
yeah. I think, are we allowed to say it? I think
we can. It's like Netflix tried to sign up and then our system completely crashed. Fortunately, we fixed that eventually, like, and they never converted, unfortunately. But yeah, it's like it was a fun thing to see. And then like we also saw some really unexpected things. We had schools, we had nonprofits, we had some even government like organizations, and that was really fun. But then churches, I think we had like we even now we have like more than 100 churches paying for our product. It's for me that was like completely.
Yeah, I think for me, like one of the moments where I realized that we're onto something was when H&M signed up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was like, and I was just like, and then I remember speaking with them and kind of like indirectly without sounding the way I'm about to sound, it's like, why do you guys need a product like this? It's like, don't you guys have a big fancy HR system over there in H&M? But it turns out that like, yes, they did have a big fancy HR system in H&M. But the problem was that the way the team was distributed and also like how the approval process worked, like they needed something external, like, and something that was able to notify them inside their chat tools, which their HR system wasn't. And so that's why they went with Vacation, really for the visibility aspect of it. Yeah,
but then we also saw that there are some really big companies like 400 people or something like that tracking everything in Excel still or something like that.
Yeah.
That was weird. But also like the big problem is that HR systems are almost always like connected to a specific country or something like that. You have an HR system for the United States or the United States and Canada or something like that. But then you have teams in Europe, Asia, or some other like parts of the world, and they have separate systems and you can't be part of both. And it's like, and it's really bad for visibility.
Yeah, for sure. And then if your team is distributed, meaning like your developers are in multiple countries and they're all on different HR systems, and they need to know when like the guy from, I don't know, like in our case, like if our developer in Canada doesn't know that our developers in Serbia are going to be off, like that creates problems that, maybe he's going to need some information when they're off or whatever. And yeah, absolutely. Those are the problems one of the problems with HR systems that Vacation Tracker solves.
So there was no one single trigger point. It was like basically a lot of luck with.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of dumb luck. And now I think, after all these years, we're 7 years in, I'm starting to see this product very, very differently. I'm also starting to see all the different ways that we can grow it, which I guess we'll talk about a little bit later. And I don't mean grow it like from a number of user standpoint. I mean grow it in terms of like developing the product further in different directions.
Yeah. When we started, I remember we talked about like how hard can it be to do like a simple leave tracking. It's like it's so simple. It's just like request approval and things like this. And now we're like,
it's tracking vacations. How hard can it be, right? Like, it turns out it's pretty hard actually. Like,
true. It's
yeah.
I don't even want to talk about the code perspective and number of hundreds of thousands of lines of code and everything. It's
well, I mean, we've been building it for 7 years, right? So
yeah.
The short answer, like shit. I mean,
it's a real MVP by the book. Basically.
Yeah, this is really like by the book MVP. And like not even intentionally. We were just like, let's get it out. Let's get something out. We wanted to get something out. We decided like firmly that we're going to start working on product in 2018. And we were like, let's just get something out. And again, in the beginning, we didn't think this was going to be a successful product. We were like, this is going to be our first kind of product. And then we'll learn some lessons here. We'll make some mistakes here. And then after that, we'll tackle the real problem. That was kind of the attitude that we had. And so like we didn't really care. We weren't overly concerned about what it was going to look like. And, we just wanted it to work and also to solve our problem because we were starting to have this problem with the Excel file that Slobodan mentioned earlier. And basically, we just launched something that was so simple that you could just request, you could approve, and
import people from Slack.
And it was only for Slack in the beginning, and that was it. Notifications.
There was just one leave type.
Yeah, there was no leave types exactly. It was just vacations.
Yeah.
And so it was quite basic, as I remember it.
Yes, but on the other side, we were really lucky that people started using it and started giving us feedback like, hey, this is awesome, but I need to have holidays. So we created public holidays, but then someone said like, hey, but I have 20 public holidays. Can I just import them? So we connected Google. And then
it was also like, hey, I want to be able to sync this with my calendar. I need to export the data to correlate it with like payroll system data, right? So then they came and started telling us all this stuff. Yeah.
And everything was improved based on feedback. We basically talked to many different people because we were lucky enough. They wanted to talk to us. They still want to talk to us. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then they tell you their problems and things like these, and then you figure out how to solve these problems. And it's the best way to build a product.
So I guess this is one of those things that I should maybe point out that we learned because of our consulting business, Cloud Horizon, which is that we always looked at the problem. Like customers come to us and they say, here's the solution to my problem, build it for me, right? And then what we always used to try to do, if you remember, was like, okay, but wait a second, is that really the best solution? Let's try to understand the problem. Yes. And then maybe it's the best solution, but most of the time it wasn't the best solution that the customer had in mind, right? There was probably a better way to do it, but they just maybe didn't know. It's not because they maybe didn't have the technical know-how. I mean, this is how we work, right? This is our job. We work in this industry, so we understand things a little bit better in terms of how technology works. And so we learned, I think we taught ourselves how to look at the problem rather than look at the solution. Because a lot of time, even now, they come to us and say, I need this feature, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, well, do you really need that feature? Like, is there, and then you try to understand why they're asking you for that. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, then maybe you don't really need that feature. What you really need is that feature, right? And so I think that came from Cloud Horizon. We brought that forward from Cloud Horizon, this way of thinking.
I remember one specific thing from Cloud Horizon that it's like our customers at that time often did that to us. We probably do that to many other people. So it's hard to train that. But I still remember once some large organization that we worked with said we want to pack this huge PDF or something like that inside QR code and have QR code that has all this data. And we were like, but why? And then they're like, oh, it's secure. Banks are using QR codes. So it's we went back and figure out that the problem is completely different. They want to transfer data securely when the app is offline and things like this. But if you don't know these things, you just build some things that are hard to maintain later.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the skills, I guess, that helped us along the way is kind of this way of thinking that we learned while we were doing projects in Cloud Horizon that we brought forward into actually building our own product.
But the other thing that was really good with Cloud Horizon is that we managed to build our product. We bootstrapped our product without any external funding and things like this because we used profits from Cloud Horizon to create Vacation Tracker.
Yeah,
which was
so I guess one way to say it is we bootstrapped it. Another way to say it is that Cloud Horizon was the first and only investor in Vacation Tracker.
That's also true.
Because we did use the cash, the extra cash we had in Cloud Horizon to kind of bridge the gap. We never operated the company super unprofitably. It was always just minorly unprofitable, small gap between what we're earning and what we're spending. But that gap was always covered by Cloud Horizon, which is why sometimes I tell people Cloud Horizon was the first venture capitalist.
Yeah, but eventually Vacation Tracker paid out that at the end.
Yeah, it's true. The Vacation Tracker kind of stepped in at the end of Cloud Horizon. So you're right. That kind of, it all comes full circle. So
I think we kind of answered part of that, but still first 6 to 12 months were
we weren't taking this seriously basically in the first 6 to 12 months. This was kind of a little hobby project for us because we had a really solid revenue generating business, which was growing very nicely with serious customers. We had finally reached a certain stage with Cloud Horizon. And so we were not really taking this very seriously. We were allocating enough time because we wanted to work on a product. And so it's not that we weren't spending any time on it, but it's just that, if I were, I don't know about you, but if I was to say how much time I was spending 90% of my time on Cloud Horizon and maybe 10-15% of my time on Vacation Tracker.
Yeah,
in the
probably
beginning.
even more on Cloud Horizon.
Yeah.
But
because we had all those projects and then we had to look at, because they were the ones that were like basically paying all the bills, like everybody's salaries, the offices that we had at the time and so forth. And so yeah, the first 6 to 12 months was quite basic. And just to answer the first paying customer question, I remember that, if you remember, we were sitting in that like little restaurant near our office in Belgrade, near the Cloud Horizon office. We were having a really tough conversation, if you remember. Like we were having to make some tough decisions with regards to Cloud Horizon at the time. And I remember like there was 4 or 5 of us sitting there having this difficult conversation. And I remember receiving that notification on my phone. And I had never received them. Now I still get them to this day, and I'm getting like hundreds of them in the day. So definitely not the same effect. But that first one that I got, that first $25, I was like, rakia for everybody. You know, I was like so excited. Like, and then we all had the rakia to celebrate. And it was somebody from Serbia. I guess he had maybe seen us on one of the
probably
conference that you had done, or maybe something that we had done, because we did do some small promotions.
No, but like I think I posted in Started group or something like that. So some people saw that on our LinkedIn's and things like Twitter, whatever.
Yeah.
But they're still using Vacation Tracker.
Yes, I was about to say that. So I don't want to say any names. But yes, they're still using Vacation Tracker, and if you're listening, thank you.
The other guy that you mentioned, like the guy that sent us an email at some point, they're also still using Vacation Tracker.
They're also using. So, and if you're listening, thank you as well, because these are some customers that have been with us for like basically 7 years. One of them even before. One of them basically emailed us a year before we launched the product, and then he became a customer. So yeah, I would have to say those two are they're special.
Yeah, definitely. But like first year, definitely disorganized, and we did like things that people asked us to do. We just discussed that a bit. We knew how to build products. That it's like from technical perspective and things like these. One thing that we didn't know at all was marketing.
Yeah.
And then we reached out to someone to help us out, someone that I know, and she said like, I'm too busy, but here's another person that can help you to create some marketing strategy. And that's actually Annika, that is now part of our team after like, we just managed to hire her after like 7 years or something like that. So
yeah, we hired Annika in the beginning because we couldn't afford a fancy, marketing. We didn't have a big budget. We couldn't find a fancy marketer. And so what we did was, like you said, we spoke to Annika, who at the time had just left Toggle, which was like a really hot startup. And she was the chief marketing officer there. And we hired her to basically draft a 1 or 2 year plan for us. And with the idea, of course, of using this plan and hiring somebody more junior to execute on the plan. Because
that was actually part of the plan. She recommended us to hire someone to execute on that plan.
Yeah, I don't remember that part.
Yeah, it's like, so yeah. It was part of the plan.
Yeah. In terms of like what the team looked like in the first year, well, we had this one developer, Srdjan, who's still with us until today. And we kind of brought him in and he was in charge of building Vacation Tracker. So he was the main technical person, like in charge of basically delivering the product and fixing all the bugs and everything. And he started working on it in January of that year. Then in September, we hired Aleksandra, who's also still with us. And she was the first marketing hire inside of the company. And because we had once we validated that like some customers are actually willing to pay for this, we're like, okay, we should start investing a little bit in marketing right now. That's when we decided to hire Aleksandra. And so that's approximately the team in year 1. It was like you and me and like
there were other people from Cloud Horizon helping.
So that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Because we also had an agency, that was our advantage, is that we had people sometimes on the bench, right? Because when you have an agency, like you have projects finishing, you have other projects starting, and it's not all aligned perfectly, right? It's not like one project finishes, the other one starts. Usually there's some gaps between projects.
Yeah.
And so essentially we took advantage of that, and we were moving people around and rotating them in and out of Vacation Tracker to help us build the product.
Exactly.
And actually, if you remember, our project manager from Cloud Horizon was the one who was also project managing Vacation Tracker. And in the beginning, we were actually treating Vacation Tracker just as another project in Cloud Horizon.
Exactly. But we had some big plans. I remember when we talked to our friend Martin, he helped us at that moment with the strategy and everything for Cloud Horizon.
Yeah.
We also mentioned this new thing. I remember sitting in that conference room in Montreal.
Yeah.
And then we talked about like... hey, here's a new thing that we're working on, and I still remember his face. He's like, oh,
Yeah, I could see his eyes rolling in my head right now. Like
exactly. And we're like, we have some big plans. We want to have like 100 customers in the first year or something like that. And he said like, no, you need one, not 100, just one. That was before the first payment went through.
Yeah.
Maybe like 3-4 months before that.
I think we were working on the strategy for that year for Cloud Horizon, and one of the goals was to like establish the product, and then he helped us set up like the goal, and he recommended we do, that our goal should be just one.
I think we finished the year at 22, 23, something like that.
Yeah, so. And we were so proud. I remember that. Like we were like, look, Martin, like we did it. Like it's over one customer. It's actually 20 times more than one.
Yeah.
So that was great. I don't think that there was, I actually had a bit of a reverse situation. Like I didn't think we were even going to be, like I had already quit on this even before we started basically. And what ended up happening along the way was I fell in love with the idea. So it wasn't like I fell in love with the idea, which somebody warned me at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey was like, do not fall in love with your ideas, right? Like make sure that they stand on their own merit because people have a tendency to fall in love with their own ideas. This was definitely not a case of that. Like, in fact, I thought this was a dumb idea in the beginning. And then slowly over time, as we started building the product, building the team, like talking to customers, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, right? Like, this is so much better than what I expected. So I had a little bit of an inverse, like situation here. I thought like I dismissed it as a bad idea in the beginning, and then it slowly over time grew on me. And now I love the idea. I'm like super committed to it. But it took a little while. It was a slow start.
I agree. It's like the only near death experience for Vacation Tracker was because of Cloud Horizon.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, like it was a clear priority to help Cloud Horizon to like grow, to be successful business and things like these. And Vacation Tracker was just a side thing. And things flipped maybe at 2021, 2022, something like that. But yeah, it's like we built it basically organically, added more things, hired more people, built more features when more people started using Vacation Tracker and start paying more. So as you mentioned, like we were not like, we tried to generate some profit and have some gap that Cloud Horizon is bridging and giving some money, of course, from profits. It was managed the way it wasn't near that at the beginning, except like with Cloud Horizon and all the things that happened there. And
no, that was not a fun moment where our first business collapsed. But yeah, that was probably a moment, not because of Vacation Tracker, but because of the other business, which was kind of a bit of a drag on it, because we had to shut it down suddenly. And yeah, you're right. But like on its own, I don't think there was a moment like.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it was a little bit like inverse of how you would think things happen, because everybody thinks like, oh, I have this great idea, I'm so passionate about it, and like I love it, like, and right away you dive into it, and you're like, there's this perception that the things work like that. In reality, well, I don't know, maybe it does work like that for some people, but for us, it was not really like that at all. It was like, oh, okay, let's work on this thing. It kind of seems like a cool idea. At least we need something like this, and then we'll see if other people need it. And it's like, oh, wow, this is working, actually. We can build a business out of this, right? So it was a little bit like that as I remember it.
I agree.
Not really. We wanted to build a remote company, but...
And
it was
kind of had because like we have 2 locations, Montreal and Belgrade, but like we had offices.
So we were, I think, a little bit ahead of the curve when it comes to remote, because we were already offering our team the ability to work from home 3 days a week. So as I recall, the mandatory days were Monday and Thursday, right?
Yeah,
and then the other days you could come into the office, but you didn't have to if you didn't want to. So that was kind of like already like baseline before COVID. And then COVID hit. And actually, before I say what happened during COVID, like you and I had always wanted to work remote.
Yes.
Because the problem for us was that when we're sitting in the office, we're constantly getting interrupted. You can't get any work done. People coming, hey, what should I do about this? And then like, it's like, I have to sit at the office and talk to people all day, and then I got to go home and work, right? So it was like, it was hard for us, and we wanted this, but because we had 2 businesses, we couldn't really say, well, this company is remote and that. I mean, we could, but I didn't think that would have been fair if we would have just made Vacation Tracker fully remote, and then Cloud Horizon is like not.
Some people, not all of them, loved coming to the office from time to time and hanging out with other people and talking to them and things like this. Remote work is really good, but you need to spend some time with your team from time to time.
Yes.
So this was kind of in between. It's kind of normal today to have that kind of 2 days in the office and then 3 days remote. It wasn't quite common and normal before COVID. Almost no one did that. It's like,
But then what happened was like we were doing this and we were doing this for both companies. I mean, at the beginning of COVID, like Vacation Tracker was like 2-3 people. So it's like, wasn't really a company yet. But when COVID hit, we had one office in Belgrade, one office in Montreal. We were spending a lot of money on those offices and nobody was going. For the first year of COVID, basically nobody set foot in either one of those offices. We spent a fortune. And that if I remember correctly, that was the moment where we said like, let's go fully remote finally, and let's save this money that we're spending on the offices.
It was a bit later because like we at least in Belgrade, we downsized our office because we had these two like big things merged together. Then we downsized that to one. And then we had some options for people to come from time to time. They just need to schedule that because of number of people and limitations and things like these. And we figured out that people from Vacation Tracker team never actually go to the office. So at some point also like when we downsized Cloud Horizon, then no one went to that office for some time. And then we decided to close it basically.
Yeah.
But I think we closed it after we closed.
No, we kept it there right up until the end, like, and then we shut it down, like when we shut down the Cloud Horizon.
That was end of 2022, right?
Yes, I think that it wasn't. We wanted it, but it wasn't really intentional until COVID, and then COVID kind of forced our hand to go fully remote, and then after. We just didn't want to go back. We're like, okay, now we have remote. This is great. It's working. We figured out how to make it work like during COVID, although we had already kind of figured out how to make it work even before.
Exactly.
It's just that now we're making it work full time. And essentially like that was how we started with remote. But then we also made the additional decision because that's something we had been dreaming about for many years. And we were seeing other companies doing it, which is to take the whole team somewhere. Yeah, right. To take somewhere nice and exotic. And we kind of started doing that like 3 years ago. We didn't go somewhere exotic. We went here in Serbia somewhere because we didn't have a lot of budget at the time. But we went somewhere in the mountains.
It's easier to bring people from Canada to Serbia.
We had there was like 3 of us in Canada. So it was just easier for all of us to come.
Danny was also there.
Yeah, she was there also. So 3 people from Canada, 1 person from Spain, and everybody else was here in Serbia. And so we basically went into the Serbian mountains the first time.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. And then the second time we went to Spain, and then we were just in Greece right now. And this was something that we really wanted to do for a while. But because the offices were costing us approximately $120,000 a year at the time, I'm not sure how feasible it would have been for our profit margins to invest another like $70,000-$80,000 to bring the whole team somewhere. But once we let go of the offices, we started being able to do that. And I think, to your point about what you were saying before about the team needing to be together, absolutely, they do need to be together. And I think these team building activities that we're organizing really give them the opportunity to do it in a really nice setting and in a way that just wasn't possible before if they work in the office. So I think that we've figured out a way to make it work quite well.
Yeah, definitely. And another cool thing is that now we can hire people all around the world. Right now we have people in 5 countries, right?
Yeah, so we have Canada and Serbia. That's the main countries where we have people. We have somebody in Colombia. We have somebody in Spain. We have somebody in Estonia right now. Greece. Yeah, and so that's 6 countries.
Yeah, and we'll probably expand over time. But like, it's cool that you're not limited to one specific place. You can hire people all around the world, and then it's even nicer when all these people meet once a year or multiple times a year somewhere and spend time together. And
yeah, I think everybody enjoys that. And I think that's one of the things that triggers the most people applying to work at Vacation Tracker is like, oh, we're going to Greece this year. Oh, do you guys have any openings of Vacation Tracker? Like I hear just all the time when I tell them we're going.
I think a really cool thing is it happened completely like unplanned, but we managed to hire really good people. And now team kind of filters that out. Whenever you hire new people, they just either fit to your, let's call it culture. I don't really like that word, but like it's either they work really well together or they don't, and we need to replace that person. But yeah, it's like over time, the team is like the best thing we built inside Vacation Tracker. And also the product is not bad at all. But
but the team built the product, so it comes back to the team, right? So you're right. We were...
I don't think we had these options in front of us. It was basically like this was the only option for us at that moment. And
I mean, we could have probably raised like given.
Imagine doing that during like handling Cloud Horizon and everything.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, you're right. Maybe they wouldn't have even invested because we were not willing to like commit to it full time.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was an organic decision, I guess, in a sense that we didn't really even think about it. We were just like, okay, let's build this product. We want to build a product. Let's build a product. Let's start playing with something, and then we'll figure it out, right? And that's always been the way we operate. It's like a bias towards action, right? Like meaning that let's just move and then we'll figure it out as we go along, rather than sitting here and thinking indefinitely, what do we want to build? How do we want to build it? Like we just go, right? And we just started, and this was, I think, no different than a lot of the other things.
Exactly. I would definitely do it again. Why not?
Yeah.
It's fun. There are some constraints. You can't do whatever you want because you're limited with money, of course. But on the other side, even with VC money,
like, this constraint with money, I think is not a bad thing.
Not at all. It's
like there's another bigger company, that like we look up to that has all the money in the world, and like, and they've been struggling to create like another successful product, right? Even though they have all these like millions of dollars and like experience in marketing and so forth. And like, it's just, I don't think it's that easy. And I feel that actually when you're constrained, it's kind of survival mode kicks in, right?
Yeah.
You have no choice, right? Whereas like if you have like all this money in the bank and you can just take whatever amount of time, hire whoever you want, like it's not like you don't, like, at no point does the survival instinct actually kick in.
Also,
and it makes it more difficult.
Also, you don't really want to try to solve a small problem because like it's not worth that.
Yeah.
If you have big expectations and everything, and when you're starting with like basically zero money or some small, I don't know, budget or something like that, then it's like you do whatever you need to do to keep it alive, basically. Like, and you start as small as possible.
And I mean, I don't think we were ever opposed to raising money. I just think we didn't see a reason for it because we're, at this point we're profitable and we just don't have, like, if we got 10 million today from somebody, like what are we going to do with it, right? I think if we had like, ideas on where we could invest all this money, right? Like then probably we'd raise. If we hit something adjacent to Vacation Tracker, which is stuff we're going to start experimenting with, and it really starts taking off, and we need money for that, then maybe we'll raise, maybe we won't. Like, it's just, the reason we decided, like, really, I think is because we had Cloud Horizon as kind of our venture capitalist backer who was covering that gap. Then we became profitable. We had some cash. And so we never really needed to raise money. Okay. Even though I get emails like twice a week from people asking like, hey, yeah. So we're both receiving crazy amounts of emails asking us like, do we want to sell the business? Do we want to like raise money? Do we want to like borrow money? And we're always like, well, thank you. No, we don't really need it right now. And so, yeah, I think that for the time being, we have no intentions to raise. Bootstrapping is something that we like because we have full control over all of our decisions. We have full control over where we want to take the business, but we're not opposed to it. So maybe at some point down the line, we might raise.
Agree. This week?
This week, the biggest mistakes?
No, there are so many mistakes, but like the thing is that you always need to try to fix them as fast as possible. And it's like, you can't avoid mistakes. Yeah. You can just react fast.
Yeah.
And even if someone tell you, don't do this, maybe that will work in your case. Many people told us like, hey, try to do some specific things, and they never worked for us. Many people told us like, don't do some specific things, and they worked for us. So it's like, I don't think there's like, I really love books and things like these, but like, and stories. But then you read many things and they're like success stories. It's really hard to replicate that exactly the same to your business. And it's more like it gives you some ideas, but you need to adapt these ideas to your like specific situation, the problem that you're solving, the specific ecosystem, and like everything is changing so fast in the world now. So it's like something that worked like 6 months ago or something like that maybe does not work anymore because like of AI, because of different economic situation and many things. So I think the only thing is to adapt fast and basically like try. If you're not making mistakes, you're probably not moving fast enough.
Yes, like, exactly. That's what I wanted to say. We were always biased towards action. So we were like, let's move fast. Let's just keep moving, even if we're not sure what we want to do or which direction we should go in. Let's just go left. And then if left is the wrong direction, we'll course correct and we'll go right. But let's just keep moving because like we're going to learn things along the way, and then we could use those things, when we get on the right path. I would say like, yeah, I totally agree with what you said. And I can't like point out any one single mistake that I think that was really bad. I think we made a few mistakes, particularly me with hiring some consultants. I won't name any names here, but yeah, I think we kind of shit the bed a few times on that.
But you learn something every time.
Yeah, we did.
It's like,
But yet
Probably
here we
not.
are 7 years in, and I still made a mistake this year, if you remember, and it was a pretty bad one in terms of evaluating the consultant. And so we learned, but we're still making that mistake, right? And so like it's not huge, this mistake, because we generally like pick up quickly when we make this mistake. But nevertheless, like when you're growing like this, you need people to help you, and not all the skills that you're necessarily going to have on your team. Sometimes you need to augment those skills. You're going to hire a consultant, and that's such a mixed bag with consultants, right? Like sometimes they're amazing, and then other times they're terrible, right? And it's like, and like you said, it's like a lot of them, like the terrible ones, I think, try to replicate their experience, right? They did it once over here in product A and like category A and like industry A, and then like now they're trying to take that learning that they did over there and apply it to like completely different industry B, category B, all this stuff, thinking that it's going to work. And I think in most cases, to your point, it just doesn't work. You can't translate it there. So maybe parts of it are going to work, but the whole thing to do it exactly, like I think it just...
Yeah, and the funny thing is that whenever someone comes and look at Vacation Tracker, they're like, oh, this is so easy. I'll solve all of your problems so easy, so fast. And it's like...
That's the universal attitude that a lot of the consultants have when they walk in. They're like, oh, I'll show you kids how to do this, right? And they're like, oh yeah, please go ahead, do it. And most of the time they fall flat on their face and realize like, oh, this isn't as simple as I thought it was going to be.
True. But on the other side, the only mistake I would really avoid is not doing something, and because you're afraid to make a mistake or something like that. It's like, just try something and eventually you'll...
So speaking of that, actually, excellent point, I think. I think pricing might be a mistake that we made, and not in terms of like the pricing that we've done. We should have done this way before. We should have been playing with pricing and packaging. Like we're just we're terrified of that. We're like so scared to change it. We just changed it recently. We launched premium. We like adjusted our pricing and packaging a little bit, and we've been like scared to do it, right? Like we needed a little nudge to do it. And even last time too, like the last time it was Jean-Luc that gave us a little kick in the butt to like go on the pricing thing. And we were like, should we, shouldn't we? And we were like, remember talking about it forever. And now this time it's Martin that came in and gave us a kick in the butt. And we're just like, should we, shouldn't we? We're kind of standing, So I think that's one thing that maybe
also
we should
plan.
Sorry?
Free plan also, like...
that too. Yeah. Okay. So somebody on our team last year came and told us we should do a free plan. We're like, no, we're never doing that. And here we are a year later, we just launched it. But yeah, that's probably something that we could have been doing more of over the years, is like doing some experiments with pricing and packaging. I think that
actually correlates back to exactly the thing that I mentioned. It's like not doing things is the biggest mistake, or doing things too late and things like this.
Yeah.
When you do something, sometimes you feel like you did something that was a mistake, but then you correct that as fast as possible, and then you move on, and that's it.
Exactly. I don't know, getting the march to 3 million, which we're like inches away from. I think that there's many points in the path that I can reference.
I can maybe reference the first one, which is basically like what we did really well at the beginning. And then again, during COVID, was like riding different waves. First was like chatbots and Slack wave. The second one was like Microsoft Teams. We moved fast, and basically like there were many teams starting with Microsoft Teams during COVID. And then basically because we were one of the first integrations, they basically came to Vacation Tracker. And that was a big like growth wave for us. So we did that multiple times, and that's probably something like...
I mean, we started doing that with Cloud Horizon, right? Like with Cloud Horizon, we got excited about mobile ahead of everybody else. And we decided to launch this agency, and we kind of rode the mobile wave. And to your point, we managed to kind of latch on to the chatbot and like team collaboration waves. So definitely those... I think one of the big moments for us was like when we started building Vacation Tracker, we hadn't considered like building it for other platforms. We were building this for ourselves. So we built it for Slack. We didn't think about opening it up for other platforms at the time.
There were no other platforms
at that
moment.
Teams wasn't there. Yeah, but I mean, you could have done email. We could have done Google Workspaces.
I was opposed to email for a long time.
Yeah, you were opposed to email for a while. You weren't necessarily wrong. It's not like we have crazy amounts of email signups, because like the product is so much better in like in the platforms. But when we did do Microsoft, that was the first kind of like growth wave that we experienced.
Well, the first one was with Slack, basically.
Yeah, obviously.
That was so early, so it's like without that wave, we wouldn't probably have a product.
Exactly. And like that was the wave that made us realize like, oh wow, there is a product here. There's something here that we can actually like build, right? Then the kind of the second growth wave came when we launched the Microsoft Teams integration.
And then everything else was a bit smaller, but like many small things, marketing, then like all the product decisions, and then many other things that we did, like small incremental things that helped. It helped all together.
Yeah, I would say that like the first couple of years, it was really about like building out the team and the skills. We were in a service business before, and the skills that we needed in people like in the service business was one thing, and we had gotten good at hiring for that business, but I don't necessarily think we were great at hiring product people because it's a different set of skills that you need a little bit. And I think the first couple of years was really like figuring that out and bringing in the right people and bringing in the right consultants, and a few times making mistakes, a few times like getting it right. And that was kind of what unlocked all the growth levers, was bringing in the people and then kind of building out the company and trying out
different things. Like we knew a lot about building things, but not really about strategy, not many things about marketing, not many things about product itself and things like this. So we learned.
I still don't know anything about strategy. That's why Martin is there.
But yeah, it's like learning all the way, and like there are no many different points to like to focus on, but basically like finding these waves and recognizing them early. And it's funny now, for example, in Twitter, if you're in Twitter, it seems that everything is moving so fast and that you're late on everything. And then when you go to a real world, you see that completely different stories.
So that's been my experience with AI is, I see something on AI. I'm like, look, Slobodan, we have to be doing this in Vacation Tracker. And then we actually try to replicate it. And it's like, it doesn't work at all. Like the way, like the way it does on Twitter. And you're like, okay, maybe it's not quite there yet.
Exactly. And then 6 months later, it's not quite there yet. So it's like,
So I would say the most impactful thing that we've done and that we're still doing to this day is content. And that was what Annika suggested to us from the start. And we've been following that playbook from the beginning, and now we've come full circle, and Annika has joined our team full time.
And changed the playbook a bit because...
But it's still quite content-based.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, what are we doing right now? We're building content, right? And so essentially, like, it's very content-based, like the strategy. There's other things, but I think that's the pillar of what's worked for us over the last 7 years. We've done a bunch of other stuff, right? We've done like, we've done the leave loss section, which I think is great, like where we keep track of different leave laws around the world. And I think that draws in some people because they see that we're experts in this. We've been doing YouTube videos. We've been doing Google ads, of course. That's something we've been doing from the beginning. We've tried Facebook ads. I would say that, like, I think the big surprise for me actually was LinkedIn. Like, you would think that LinkedIn is a place where you can find a bunch of good leads because all the professionals hang out there. But actually, I find that we've tried like with so many different people. We've allocated decent budgets, like, so not like, oh, you cheaped out, so it didn't work because of that. We've tried with multiple people, with multiple LinkedIn experts and people who've done it. And like, we just were never able to get LinkedIn to work. And I'm just surprised.
I'm not, because it's like a spam network now. It's like,
I guess
every message I get is like someone trying to sell me something. So
agreed. But that's today. We tried LinkedIn 5 years ago, and it wasn't as spammy 5 years ago. And it's still like, we were not able to get it to work. So that's like one really big surprise that I think where we flopped, where we were like, this should work. Makes sense for it to work. There's a lot of professionals here, a lot of HR managers who we were like, that was like the ICP for us at the time. We've evolved it a little bit since then, but we're just surprised to like get such bad results with LinkedIn. Whereas like content has been really the driver of a lot of the things that a lot of the signups that we've been getting and a lot of the good stuff that's been happening has been because we've been producing I think good content.
I agree. It's like. And also another thing that we did really well, not because we planned that from very beginning, is like building a product in a way that people just like recommend it to their friends or something like that. We never thought that B2B product will have that, but we have like 1 out of 7, 8.
1 out of 10 actually. I was floored. I couldn't believe it because
it was 1 out of 7. Now it's like
it's even higher now. Yeah, because when the last time we checked, it was about 1 out of 10. It took over as our second best channel, right? Or even like our third channel. I don't remember exactly, like, but it's up there. It was like a channel we weren't even considering, and all of a sudden now it's in our top 3 channels. And you're right, like it's something we hadn't really thought about. We didn't think people were recommending the product. Then somebody told us,
there's no system for that.
Well, yeah, but there's no, yeah, but we weren't even asking customers, right? We were allergic to adding another field in the sign up process because we're like, no, it's gonna like drop, signups are gonna drop if we put this one extra field to ask them where you heard about us. And then somebody came, I don't remember who it was, but somebody came and said, why don't you guys put this field? And I'm like, okay, fine, let's put it. And then we put it and we started collecting this incredible data, which surprised us. And then we're like, I guess that's another mistake. We should have done this earlier, right? And so now we collect the data and we were really surprised to find how many people actually come to Vacation Tracker as a result of recommendations.
Yeah, agree. Well, this was also like kind of, there was no big plan or big management process or anything like that. It was basically organically because we had some good foundations because of our previous company and partially remote team. When you hire people that you basically trust, then you don't need to micromanage things. And we're also goal oriented most of the time. So it's like no one is really caring about like small, like the point is like, as long as we have goals and we finish everything we agreed on, that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and also I think it's because we're quite flexible with our team, meaning that we don't really have working hours in Vacation Tracker, right? Like we can work whenever they want. Like generally what we ask for them is to be there for meetings and to be available for other team members if there's a question or something and somebody depends on them. But like nobody is told like you have to be there from this and this time. The only people that have to have a specific shift are customer support team members because we can't offer customer support like asynchronously. It has to be during specific hours.
But it's like
we could, yeah, but it's then our customers I don't think would be very happy. And so they're the only ones that have a specific working hours. The others can kind of work whenever they want, but we have clear goals for them, like you said, and what needs to be delivered. And so because of
not that clear all the time.
Yeah, not always clear. Sometimes we're a little bit vague with them, but like I think we're getting better. We're better than we were like 7 years ago. That's for sure. And I think that's part of the reason is that like we just let people cook when they feel like cooking, right? And like some people work better at night, other people work better in the morning. And so that's, I think, a big factor in it.
From time to time, I need to like message people on Sunday evening or something like that to close their laptops and not do, because I see like pull request or something like that. And I'm like, why? And then I have Srdjan, for example, or someone telling me like, hey, I'm watching this movie and I just wanted to finish something.
It's a perfect moment to do
Please don't. So yeah, it's like we also want people to be rested and full of energy when they need to be focused on work. We don't really want them to be overworked or anything like that.
But with a remote company, I think it's easier to manage these kind of weird schedules than like in an office, right? Like
true, but like we actually have a new feature for that helps us to like manage the energy and everything. Just because it's not so easy when you don't see people, you don't like always know if they're close to burnout, close to like low energy and things like these. You need some additional signals and things like this. Yeah. So it's like some things are easier, some things are harder. So it's like you need to adapt to that new system where people are not in the office, you don't see their faces all the time and things like this.
Yeah, and to your point, like we're working right now on something which should help us kind of keep better track of this and and how tired people are, like how close to burnout, like how energized they are, and then we'll we're gonna evolve this.
But also like help people self-manage themselves, because like that's even more important in remote companies.
Absolutely.
And another thing that was really important, and that was something that our previous product manager, Nenad, actually suggested when he joined the company, is like keeping cameras on during meetings. We don't have too many meetings, but it's like, it's so big difference when you see see all the faces in the meetings right now when we don't have offices anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they can't play Candy Crush anymore while they talk to you.
Well, they can, but it's like,
it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. No, but really, it's like, it's different when you talk to someone and you actually see their faces.
Yeah, absolutely.
For you and I, it's like, it was kind of normal thing because you're based in Canada, I'm in Serbia. So it's like, we had like 6 hours difference from very beginning. So it's like, we're used to that. Like, but for many other people,
it's they have to get used to it. Yeah. Well, I think from 0 to 100 ARR, I didn't really take this product very seriously. And I mean, we wanted it to be successful. I mean, I guess that's why we started working on it. But like, I wouldn't say we were super invested in its success. We started taking it more seriously when we started getting those first like 20, 30 customers. And then we were like, okay, let's see where we can take it. But when we reached 1 million, at that point, I think we realized that there's this thing that in the startup world called product market fit, right? Where you reach a point where you're like, okay, this is clearly working. And I think at 1 million is roughly when we realized that as well. And that's where we started getting more serious about hiring the right people. It's not that we were not trying to hire the right people before. It's just that like we were kind of all over the place with like the two businesses, and we didn't, at least for me, I didn't give it the appropriate mental bandwidth, and then when we reached that million, it's a kind of psychological thing. Wow, we're at $1 million already. Like that's crazy. I don't believe that like we were even able to make it to this point. And then that kind of forces you to start thinking about things a little bit more seriously. At least for me, that was my experience. I don't know if for you it was different.
That's true. But on the other side, one thing that changed is that other people are also taking vacation tracker more seriously now that we have like some track record and things like these. Whenever I go to some conference, I meet someone that is actually using vacation tracker for years and things like this. Not because I go to conferences that are related to vacation tracker in any way, but like I finish my talk or something like that on some tech conference, and then someone tell me afterwards like, hey, nice talk, whatever. I'm using your product for like past 4 years or something. So we have many customers and things like this, but we also like have many people hearing about vacation trackers. So we can finally hire some people that we were not able to hire. Like when we were, first thing is of course budget. We didn't have budget to hire some people, but also like
it's risky.
Yeah, it's risky even for them to join a small startup.
But that's what I mean. It's risky for them, right? Like exactly. It's like, who are these guys? Like, is this gonna make it? I'm gonna have to be looking for another job in 6 months. Is this, is stable enough, right? So exactly. Once you hit 1 million, you're right. Like it gives a certain sense of stability to the business, particularly in the SaaS world where it's like a bunch of small customers, right? If you have one customer paying you $1 million, that's quite risky, right? But if you've got like hundreds of customers paying you $1 million, it's less risky because if like a few of them leave, you're still kind of stable, right?
Yeah, actually a great thing that happened to us is that our biggest customer is less than 1% of our monthly recurring revenue.
Yes.
Which is like really good thing, but no one planned for that. It was just like, but yeah, many things are changing all the time. But yeah, it's like there's no specific pinpoint, like there's a difference between these two numbers. It's more like when you scale, when you have more cash in a bank, when you have like more budget, when you have more customers, when people hear more stories, then you can do more things. You can risk more mistake. You can make bigger mistakes and be fine with them and things like this.
I think that 1 million is a very strong psychological barrier.
True.
And once you cross it, it's not just that you start taking it more seriously, it's the other people outside of your companies also, if you're public about it, other people outside of your company also start taking it more seriously. Everybody just starts taking it more seriously. Like there's potentially or there is product market fit happening right now. And then you're like, you kind of de-risked it a little bit. And then you might be a little bit more prepared to invest like your time and like more money into things and to experiment with things. I would say that's probably the biggest thing that changed. There's a story that I'd like to maybe say, an abbreviated version of, that I've told to the team. You, of course, know it from the beginning. At one point, a little while ago, I don't recall exactly when, I think it was a little bit less than a year ago, I read something actually on Twitter about like how most of us don't think big enough. Like we're not ambitious enough. And so we were talking at one point and I was like telling Slobodan that I had read this thing and that what if we thought about vacation tracker an order of magnitude bigger than what we were initially thinking about? So we're always talking about let's get it to 10 million, then we'll see what we're gonna do, right? And so it's like, what if we like thought about it like as an order of magnitude bigger business, maybe like 50 or $100 million, like a large business, that this could maybe be the big idea that we were always wanting to work on. What if we thought about it like that? So, I just want to be clear. It's not the dollar value of the business. I don't think that was the big thing. It was more like we want to work on a big idea, and we didn't think initially that vacation tracker could be that big idea. And then finally it was like, well, what if we opened up the possibility in our minds that this could be the big idea? What would that look like? And so we started discussing it, and one thing became pretty clear to me, and that is that I don't think that I'm the right person to lead the business, to that number or whatever, to that size of business. The reason is that I feel that you and me were pretty like startup-y, meaning that like we thrive in chaos, you know, like, right? Like I would say so. So we're good at like taking chaos and making something out of it. But at the stage that we're at right now, we're like far away from chaos. Like now we need structure, we need organization, right? And it's not that we can't learn these things. Of course we can. But if we want to move quickly, which has kind of always been our goal, I think it would, you know, we would benefit from like having some experience. And so that's kind of the discussion that Slobodan and I were having. And basically we were like, okay, well, if not me, then who would be the right person? And so it was like, well, it has to be somebody that you and I both trust, somebody that we've worked with, somebody that knows product, somebody that worked in HR tech, that knows what a organization the size of where we want to grow looks like. So like we had this like list of criteria and
just one name.
and just, yeah. And then like, it's like, well, who in our network do we know? It's like, there's one person and that's Martin. And he had just kind of left where he was working at the time. And he was like, I want to take a break. So basically, like we said, okay, I kind of went to talk to him. I asked him what he thinks about building the business to a much larger scale. He was like, oh yeah, I think it's absolutely possible, you know? And I was like, just surprised by how he answered me when I presented that to him. And then I told him about our conversation and he wasn't quite ready to commit at the time, or actually wasn't ready to commit at all. He was just like, okay, well, interesting. But he did generously offer to kind of join some meetings and kind of talk to us, discuss some strategy, and just to include him in stuff like, and just so he can kind of get a sense of what we're doing and give us better advice. Because at the time I was consulting him, but once every 6 months, once a year, there's a whole lot of catching up to do every time. It's like, here's where we're at right now. Like, what advice can you give me? And so like, he kind of started joining meetings with us and talking with us. And then after a while, I think after he saw that we have a great team and that like, the product is quite solid and that it's moving in the right direction, he agreed to join the team and lead it. That's how I remember it. I don't know if there's something that you would add to that.
No, not really. It's like, it's that plus a thing where we can finally like abuse the old thing that he told us, like just one customer. So now we can do the same thing to him. Like, no, that's not your big goal. Your big goal is like to hit something a bit smaller. No, but really it's like Martin was the obvious choice and we were lucky that he thought the same.
Yeah, no, we were really lucky. I have to say,
Yeah,
I'm like, the way I feel about it is that like, I feel that we're like this kind of like minor league soccer team that just landed Messi here. And he's like now playing in our team, you know?
Really it's like, it was kind of a moonshot for us at that moment, but yeah, it's like we already see some really really good like movements in our direction and everything. Things are moving faster in right directions and things like this. So yeah, it's already great. Yeah,
it's been the first couple of months. It's been great, and I'm pretty sure it's going to continue like this. We have a lot of great ideas and ambitious plans, I think, and it looks to me like there's a good chance this might actually work.
Well, I'm not sure if we even want to answer that one because like it was part of the previous answer. But yeah, it's like as Lav described, we already knew Martin. It's like I'm not even sure how would we hire someone for this. It's like I wouldn't even try. If we needed to search for a person instead of Martin, that would be like, I don't know. It's like I don't really know how to do that. So we were lucky not to. It's like, yeah. I don't think we would do the same thing if we...
I don't think so either. I think the main part of it is the trust aspect.
Yes.
Right? I think that we trust Martin because we worked with him for so long. He's been there from the beginning. He saw, like you said before, he was there on the drawing board. He said, like, he helped us set the first year goal. He kind of helped us make some product decisions in the beginning. And he's been there from the start. And we knew him well before, like we actually launched Vacation Tracker. So we had all this time to establish trust with him. We had worked with him for a year or two. He was helping us get Cloud Horizon organized at the time, and he helped us kind of scale Cloud Horizon. So we had established that trust and then matched that with the experience that he had, like in the previous 4 years, from the beginning of COVID, roughly right up until about like the end of last year. He had been working at a company that we respect a lot, and basically like it just like all the stars aligned, and I think I think we got really lucky. But ultimately, I think that the main factor of consideration for us is the trust aspect, because we just trust him.
Yes.
And like that's why he's able to do the things that he's doing right now and take more decisive action, is because we trust him and we support the things that he's trying to do.
I agree. Oh, I think like we discussed that. I remember that car drive from like Martin's place to back to Montreal, and we were discussing like possible options that we have. And I told you like for me it's okay. It's like I already made my decision. It's like I don't really need additional time or anything like that. But yeah, it's like it was a fast decision making process once we like start actually talking about that. But yeah, it's like
Yeah. No, it was for me too. It was quite clear, especially because the way we started was who would be the right person to lead. There's like one name on the list. So it's like, it wasn't very difficult if he was willing to get on board with it. I just want to take a moment to talk about how we make decisions in general. And so there's been a few fun moments. I'll start with Cloud Horizon way back when we were like arguing in front of the team. That wasn't fun. Remember that that one point in time where one of the team members told the other team member, don't worry, mom and dad are arguing. They're not upset with you. Remember that?
yeah.
That for me was a moment where I was like, oh, we cannot do this publicly. Because I think that one of the reasons why our partnership has worked so well over the years is because we have a good way of making decisions. So I think it's important to address that. And I think that outside of what I just said as a joke before about arguing in front of the team and making decisions like that, I think we learned relatively quickly not to do that and kind of talk behind closed doors and even yell at each other if we have to, but ultimately make a decision and move forward because we want to keep moving and we don't want to be stalling and arguing about decisions. And I think one of the big things that's really important and why it works so well between us is this thing where it's like, if you feel really strongly about something, I'm arguing with you against it. I might go I don't agree with it, but I trust you. Let's do it your way. And if it doesn't work, we'll do it. And the same thing for you, right? When you see that I feel really strongly about something, you're like, okay, fine. I don't agree with you, but I see you feel really strongly. Let's try it your way. And then if it doesn't work, we'll do it the other way. And Amazon has a name for this. I remember Jeff Bezos took it. It's like something disagree and commit or something.
Yeah, something
like that. And we adapted that from the beginning, I think, or early days. And I think that's worked spectacularly well for us in terms of decision making.
Luckily for Martin, there was no disagreement or anything like that. But yeah, in most cases, it's like I either don't have a strong opinion or something, or I don't really like the idea. But if you are if you really want to try something, then why not? It's like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
But that ties in with this whole action bias towards action, right? It's like we know that we have to keep moving, and it's better for us to be moving in the wrong direction than to be standing still and going, what should we do here, right?
As long as we can correct the course.
Of course, exactly. As long as there's an undo on the decision, right? Which some decisions do not have undos, right? So it's
it's not easy to undo some things, but we also discussed that when we are making decisions and things like this. But yeah, in general, it's important for us to make decisions fast. And I think it's really the important thing that we can be transparent and tell, I can tell you what I think and you can tell me what you think, and that's it. And that's basically what I expect all the time. I don't think this would work without that. It's
for sure. But that comes back to the whole trust thing, right? We trust him, but I trust you. And so we can come to each other and tell each other everything.
And Martin was a bit confused with that at the beginning because he didn't expect that on that level. I think it's maybe he did, but it's
yeah.
That's a question for you because my role is not changed yet.
So actually, I think your job got harder. My job got easier.
No, it's
well, but let me explain why I'm saying that. It's because we're now moving fast, right? And so therefore, a lot of stuff is happening, and so that's having a more of an impact on you. Whereas for me, before Martin joined, I was CEO, COO, and CFO. So I was basically doing 3 roles, and now I'm only doing 2. I'm doing COO and CFO. My official title is COO. Basically, I'm doing mostly COO stuff, but I still manage the finances as well. But I don't have that CEO role, right? And so that's already much easier for me. But I think the biggest thing that I'm realizing that I didn't even connect it when I was actually doing the job, and I didn't even realize how much time this was taking, is all those little micro decisions, right? All those little things that people come to you and ask you, what should I do about this? What should I do about that? It's just none of that's happening. I have silence now. I have the ability to work 2-3 hours on a task without being interrupted. So I would say that's the biggest change. I'm enjoying it because I think that when you're CEO, it's you're a little bit like a squirrel. You're just jumping from problem to problem or meeting to meeting, or you're just and then you have very little opportunities to work 2-3 hours in a shot on something. And now I have the opportunity because I'm not interrupted all the time, but also because we've consolidated a lot of the meetings. We used to have so many meetings before, And now Martin
That's
came.
for you, not really for me.
I guess, but even you sometimes, right? You were like, oh my God, I've been in meetings all day, right?
Oh yeah, but that's because like I often talk to customers and things like this. That
Yeah.
happen even now.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
like,
that's
for me,
happening
it's-
now. Yeah, so for me, I had like a bunch of meetings before, and like now it's like all been consolidated into like 3 or 4 meetings. So that opens up all this time. Plus, people aren't coming to me anymore asking me questions all day long, or like getting like these micro decisions. Like, should I sign their NDA or should I sign? That's like the one that keeps popping into my mind, is like this NDA decision where I was just like, okay, should I just sign it? Yeah, okay, no problem, I'm signing it. And I didn't have to think about it. Whereas like if I was the one making decisions, I would be, should we sign it? We agreed on this. Like, is this like restrictive enough? Like, I just, it's, and there's a bunch of stuff like this day to day that's been happening, which has actually made my life quite easier. Also, it's allowed me to do the other 2 jobs, I think, much better. Because I think I was kind of half-assed doing all 3 jobs before. No. And now I can do a much better job as a COO, as a CFO, because I'm able to focus on those jobs, right?
Yep. For me, the biggest like change right now is like learning many new things every day now. But like in day-to-day work, it's like, yeah, things are a bit faster, but like no big change at the moment.
Yeah, you're right. That's another thing I think I would say I'm learning a lot. Like, and that's part of the reason why we brought Martin in, right? Is because we want to learn from him. He's somebody we admire, we look up to him, we think he has incredible experience, and we want to keep learning, right? Like, we don't want to stop learning. So that was one of the reasons why it was important to us to have somebody who we can learn from as the leader of the company.
Don't do that unless you have someone that you trust.
Yeah, basically, that's a good one. Yeah. So I think that you have to think it through if it makes sense for your business. I think you have to think about what the things that you like to do are, because I don't think either one of us has this ambition to like lead massive teams. In fact, I prefer working in small teams.
Me too.
And so, the idea of growing to 100, 200 people is kind of scary for me. Or I'd rather leading it. It's like, it's okay to grow to that size and to be part of that team. But like me being in charge of 200 people, I have a hard time. Like, I don't think that this is something, that I would want. So it's like sitting down and saying, okay, I like doing this and I don't like doing that. And then if it turns out that you don't want to like figure out how to lead a 200-person company, because there's a lot of skills. Like, I say that and it sounds simple, like you have to lead a 200-person company, but there's a lot of skills you have to develop in order to be able to do that. I personally don't think I have those skills naturally. I would have to build them. It's like, do I want to invest time in that, or do I want to invest in time in other things? It's the opportunity cost of it. And personally, I don't have an ambition to lead 200-person companies. So I decided that it would be better if somebody else did it. Now, that's a personal decision. It depends on the founder. If the founder has the ambitions to lead a big company, then maybe it doesn't make sense for them to bring in somebody else, right? Maybe it makes sense for them to develop those skills. But if they're like us and they prefer to work in smaller teams, then maybe it might make sense. But yes, what Slobodan said, which is you have to trust the person. I think that's the ultimate acid test on whether the person is the right person to lead. And even then, you're not sure whether it's going to work or not, but at least trusting them, there's a higher likelihood that if things don't work, that you're going to be able to work something out, right?
Well,
you're going to be able to manage it better.
Second advice, like think about the undo process. If you're not 100% sure with the first decision, with trust, like think about like how do you undo that and what happens to you, business team, and everyone else. Like if you need to undo that, at some point, like because sometimes things just don't work.
Exactly.
Like we luckily don't have experience with that one in vacation trackers, so like
yeah.
That marketing is really important, probably more important than product.
I don't know. You said it's funny like that you say that. I have like a little bit of, and I guess it's because of the areas we've been focusing on in the business. I agree. I don't disagree with your statement that marketing is more important, but maybe I also think the product is more, because remember one of the things that unlocked our growth recently was like all the product changes we did, right? And yes, now we're doing all this marketing stuff, which is driving even more growth. But I think what course corrected us in the last couple of months before we had this burst of growth was some product changes that we did. So let's just kind of like high level it by saying like product and marketing are super, super, super important. And it's a mix, right? They work together. You cannot do one without the other. Yeah,
exactly.
They work together. Product should be in very close communication with marketing and vice versa. They should be making decisions some decisions together, maybe not all decisions, right? Because maybe marketing doesn't have all the context for certain things that are deep in the product.
We can tell that even differently. Like it's not even marketing and product. It's more like you need to build an awesome thing, but you also need to tell people that you build that awesome thing that is solving their real problems. One without other will not like work.
Yeah, agreed. That's a much better way to put it, actually.
So we can call that marketing, sales, whatever we want, but like it's equally important. It's like I saw some people building incredible products that like never succeeded, and I also saw some like really bad products that had really big success. So it's well, it's for me at least, it's like comparing to the other thing I can compare to, which is basically Cloud Horizon. It's like quality of my life and our lives. It's like in a way that like you can plan your time, you can have free time to spend with your kids, with friends, someone else, like whatever. It's like
way less fires, right, to put out.
Exactly. So it's like you're focused on one specific thing. You have ability to make any decision. So it's basically like up to us what we'll do. And of course, like all the consequences are like we need to manage them, but it's easier to work like that, at least for me, because with clients, you suggest something, you see that that decision is clearly way better than the other thing that they want to do, but it's up to them. It's like, and then you see them driving directly into the wall, and then you can't do anything. Like you just sit there at the side and watch that, and that's it. And sometimes we do that even with our product, but still it's like, it's our decision. It's like us hitting that wall, and it's us like adjusting after we hit that wall. But yeah, it's like,
so for me, I think probably the most rewarding part of Vacation Tracker has been like the people we've been working with. And it's not to say that like the people that we're working with in Cloud Horizon, like I think we worked with amazing people in both companies. I just think that we learned how to hire better and how to hire people that are better fit for like what we need to do at that specific point in time. Whereas we weren't so experienced like with hiring the right people for the right project and so forth. And also we were also limited with Cloud because like you would hire them for that project, but then that project would finish and then it's another project and they're not necessarily a good fit for that project, but they were a great fit for the previous project. And that was much more difficult to manage when you're running a service company.
You can't tell the exact story. You're selling, you'll work on this specific project and whatever, but then client actually decides. They can change these things when you actually hire a person. That happened many times. And here you can say exactly what will happen. Like, hey, your goal will be to do this in our product, and this is how we do that right now. And these are like downsides, upsides, and things like this. So it's easier to communicate all these things clearly. So it's easier to hire people. At least for me, it's like
No, you're right. That's exactly what it is. And also it's we're getting better. We've been hiring people now for, I don't know, I've been doing it for 15 years now. So like eventually you start getting better. I wouldn't say I'm like a master at hiring, but I'm pretty good at identifying talent, particularly like raw talent, which helped us, I think, a little bit in the beginning.
Especially in support.
Especially in support. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, thanks.
We had some like
we had a little bit of a rocky boat last year in support, but it's okay. There was some unpredictable things that happened that was like out of our control, and so like but yeah, you're right. Like generally, and I mean that I think that's part of it. You make mistakes, right?
Definitely.
That was a terrible hire that I was responsible for, and we had to like move quickly to deal with it. But overall, though, I would say that
just a second, like the most important things there are that like, of course, there were some problems, but our clients were not affected by these problems, and most of our team was not affected. So it's like,
and we moved quickly to solve the problem. So, but and so like we can like isolate a couple of little situations like this, but I think overall the most rewarding part, at least for me, has been the people that we're working with and like the learnings that I'm doing because of those people, right? This is the quality people. You hire smart people, you'll learn a bunch from them, and you work with them and you learn a bunch from them, and you're inspired by them. And so I think, and then as we hit each milestone, you're like, wow, I'm so amazed and so grateful to be here working with this incredibly talented group of people that's kind of like doing something amazing, right? So that for me, I would say is
one more thing. Like when I talk to different customers, I love hearing about like that we actually solved some of their real problems and things like these. And when they talk about that, it's
absolutely. Like, you're right. That is real. I just posted about that on LinkedIn, actually. You're absolutely right. So that is another very rewarding aspect. I think that this customer just recently gave us this incredible feedback, like how the tool is saving her so much time and it's improved their processes so drastically. And basically, thank you for building this tool. It's really helped me a lot. And so when you receive feedback like that, you're just like, oh my God, it's all worth it, right? Because like building this startup is just like very, very difficult, right? There's a lot of like dead ends that you end up on. There's a lot of like to say blood, sweat, and tears, right? That up like, that you end up going through as you're building the startup. And And then you get feedback like that, and you're like, okay, this is worth it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I have a very good answer for what I think is that the magic that makes our partnership work. And I think it has to do with conflict resolution mechanisms, okay? Because in the beginning, remember we used to argue a lot, like even in front of the team sometimes. I mentioned a story before that was not fun. And I think that over the years, we figured out how to have really good conflict resolution so that it doesn't escalate and blow up out of proportion. But also, like, we trust each other. It's that thing that I mentioned before, which is disagree and commit, right? Which is like, okay, I trust that you want what's best for the company. So like, if you feel really strongly and I trust you, then therefore I'm okay doing something that I disagree with, but you feel strongly about. I trust you. So therefore, let's go, let's do it. And then we'll course correct after. I think that that's really the key that's made it work super well, is like the ability to like resolve conflicts well, but also the reason we're able to resolve conflicts well is because we trust each other.
The other thing is like complementary skills.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
We're different, so we work together well.
You like to draw, I like to do music, right? That's the but that's not the only difference, yeah.
No, but it's like we work differently. We think about problems often differently and things like these, but we also have that conflict resolution mechanism, and like we're open one to each other, and basically like that's why we work well together.
Yeah.
That was like
we both love coffee, right?
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, but it's like you need to have some like common things, but you also want to have some differences. So you have like a good diversity inside our management team and decision making process.
Yeah.
And I think Martin also like fits that really well, like with his like set of skills, with his like
exactly.
We're aligned in specific things, but then we're different in some other things. But yeah, it's like and that was one of the biggest risks. Will we work well together with him? Because like so far I think it's perfect, but like that it was a risk because you don't really know until you start.
Until you try. I mean, we kind of worked with him like before, so we had a sense. It's different. We had a sense of what it would be like, but you're right, we didn't know. But I think, to your point about like the different skills, you're absolutely right. And like you're much more techie, I'm much more like business side of things. I'm interested in tech, you're interested in business. So like, there's like some Venn diagram overlap there. But when you think about it, like neither one of us really had a job, right? We just kind of went straight out of school, and like we had some like small jobs, whatever, but we just kind of dove right into it and became entrepreneurs. And so I have no idea like what like a bigger company looks like, right? Like I was in General Electric for like 2 years. That was like, they were one of the biggest companies in the world at the time. That doesn't really give you a sense, like, right? Because it's not realistic, like that we're going to build a massive business like this, at least like not from where I'm sitting right now. And so we never really worked in like mid-sized, like slightly larger startups. So I have like,
but we worked with different companies and we saw some things, and like you learn through your clients, but you don't really know like.
But it's not the same, right? Yeah, you're there. Like it's not the same thing. So it's like, this is where I think Martin, who's had like a slightly different experience, who's held some jobs, who's also been an entrepreneur, he brings that aspect of it to the table. So he knows like a little bit more than you and I how a more organized or more structured company is supposed to operate. Whereas we're just like, what are we doing here? Like, because we've never gone through it, right? We never like worked in those kind of companies.
I guess just try different things, and actually I would still do something similar that we did with Vacation Tracker. I would try to check if whatever I'm building is actually solving a real problem that someone wants to pay for. And then I would talk to clients and iterate as fast as I can. I would definitely use AI tools and things like this today to build things faster and iterate faster. I think this is actually the perfect time for building businesses because at least as a solo founder, not maybe solo founder, but like indie hackers, whatever they call that, like it's a perfect time for building bootstrap businesses.
Because you can build like things so fast now with AI, like little MVPs and things like that.
Exactly. And there are so many like different tools that can help you to like test different things. To like, it's harder than before to market your tool, but like you need to figure something out and try. Unless you try, you'll never know. So because I often talk to people that want or are trying to build products and things like this, and the biggest problem I see is that people are just afraid of trying and failing. And I think the bigger failure is actually not trying. Everything else is like, what's the worst thing? Like no one will try your product and that's it. It's like people are afraid of like, I don't know, bad reviews or something like that. But that's also great because then you triggered someone enough to write a review or something like that.
It's maybe not like a positive signal, but it's certainly a signal that like that it resonated with somebody, your product.
Yeah. But also your product is not for everyone. You need to like have a laser focus at the beginning and solve some problem for a really small like group of people, so you can test that and then you expand from there.
Yeah, I happen to like mentor a couple of younger entrepreneurs. So the most common problem I think that I see when I speak to them is that they think that the product is going to solve their marketing problem. What I mean by that is that like and they find comfort inside of the product.
Yes.
Meaning, okay, I'm like launch this thing, and it's of course like all of us are like, we're gonna do this big launch, and then you launch and there's crickets, right? Like nobody gives a shit. And so like you have to work on the marketing aspect of it. But what I've noticed that a lot of founders, particularly younger founders, do is they default back into the product, and they're like, okay, so if I add this feature, then they're gonna come. It's like that. It's a variation of that old like adage of like, if you build it, they'll come. No, they will not come. You need to be able to sell it. You need to be able to market it. You need to be able to, what you said before, explain to people what the product does and how it solves their problem. And building the product is one thing. The other part of it is like telling the story of the product and getting people on board, and then collecting their feedback, to your point, and like and making the product better. But I think that the trap that a lot of people fall into is like, okay, if I keep making the product better, then somehow magically it's going to unlock growth. It just doesn't work like that. At least not in my experience.
No, I agree. That's it. And it's like people either don't try or they try just one thing, as you said, like they build a product without marketing. So you need both things, like whatever we call them. But yeah it's like try something, do it as fast as, try to fail as fast as you can, not because you want to fail, but like because you want to move as fast as possible to the end.
Yeah. It's like, and failure is going to be a part of it. So just accept that you're going to go down a lot of dead ends. So just that's okay. That's part of the process. That's part of learning. And
one more thing, actually, you can't outsource like early phases of the product. Maybe you can outsource some small things, but like you can learn from other people, but you need to control all these things in the beginning. Marketing, product, you can learn from consultants, from whoever, like friends.
Yeah.
But it's like in early days, there's no outsourcing, basically. Like
you should try to do as much as you can yourself.
My vacation. I'm kidding. No, but like there are so many things. Actually, we're just launching a new big update in our platform just today. I'm pretty sure it's already live while we are talking right now. It's like it's a big thing for us.
And you didn't have to be there to make it go live.
Exactly.
We're like progress.
I hope so. My phone is turned off, so I don't really know.
So yeah, as soon as we get out of here, your phone blows up. Oh my God, everything's collapsing.
Yeah. But anyway, it's like there are so many things we want to try and things we plan. So I'm looking forward to that. We have that new feature that we mentioned and many things related to that. Like it's related to measuring and optimizing team energy, and basically like having people that are focused, rested, and full of energy, and that can help basically companies to accomplish more while still like be feeling well and wanting to work for that company and things like this. But there are so many things we want to try, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that and to talking and showing that to many different like potential customers and existing customers. And
I think it feels a little bit like we're kind of starting again, right, with this new feature, because we're launching something new. It's like on the side of Vacation Tracker. It's related, of course, but it's not like directly related. So it almost feels like a new product, and it almost feels like we're taking those steps that we took in the beginning, where we're like, okay, let's release it to a group of people. Let's get some feedback, then let's like get, based on their feedback, let's build it out further. So it's very exciting for me, like this part of it, because I enjoy those early stages and that uncertainty aspect of it. I also I'm really looking forward, and I'm excited about working with some, with Martin, with Annika, and then adding some more like really talented people to our team. And then learning from them, because I'm already learned so much from Martin, and I've already learned so much from Annika, and it's only been like 2 months that we're working together. And I'm really, really excited about that, because from the beginning, we've always said, we want to work with talented people. We want to learn new things, and we want to, what was the third thing again?
Solve problems.
We want to solve interesting problems. Exactly. Yeah. So I haven't said it in a while, so I forgot it, but it's good to have this little reminder. And so, yeah, absolutely. I just, I'm really excited about applying those three things in Vacation Tracker now, because we're always saying that in Cloud Horizon, and now it's the same thing in Vacation Tracker. People can learn more about Vacation Tracker at vacationtracker.io. But no, all joking aside, yes, you could check out our website. Like, everything is there. And we just recently did a website revamp that we did, recently, about 6 months ago, where we feel we did a much better job explaining the product. We weren't so focused on like making the website look pretty, although we think it looks better than what we had before. But that wasn't the main focus. The main focus was really to explain the product better, because what we were saying before about what young founders should do is, one thing is to build something awesome. Another thing is to explain that something awesome and then have people like understand it and try it out. So we did that with our website. So people can check out our website. They can also check out our YouTube channel. We've done quite a bit of videos over the last couple of months in particular, but over the last 2 years, we've done a lot of videos as well. And I guess our LinkedIn page as well, like we post everything there. Anywhere else? Am I forgetting somewhere?
Well, they can try out the product and basically talk to our team. And we offer some free demos, setups, and things like these.
Yeah, for sure. That would be the best way, actually. Like, and here I am, the sales guy, forgetting that, and the technology co-founder doing the sales bit. So yeah, absolutely. The best way is to try out the product, and we have a free version right now, so you can actually use it. It's going to be free forever. It's not going to cost you anything to try it out. So that's probably the best way. You're right. Like to get a feel for the product and just see what it's all about.
I don't think we have some big thoughts that we didn't mention already, but it's like some people are just like, once you start like building products, it's hard to go back. It's hard to work for someone else and things like these. And it's a perfect time to start. So I would definitely start today. Again, like if I'm not doing this, I would like try to build something.
Yeah.
It's like perfect time to do that.
Exactly. I think that's a great answer. We're in a very unique moment in time right now, historically, where we have this like incredible AI tools which can just do things that were impossible to do even like a few short years ago, right? When we were getting started, we had to hire people to do everything, right? We had to hire a person to like do here's actually a great example. Like, remember in the beginning how much we struggled with that stupid sticker? And we were like all these iterations of the sticker and sending it back and forth. And I believe we ended up paying something like 1,000 euros for it. And like we were working on it for 6 weeks. And now with AI, I created this you created it actually, and then I just tweaked it a little bit, is that like thing with the octopus, like the sticker with the octopus. It took us like 15 minutes to do it, right? And I feel it's better than the one, and it's not the designer's fault. Like the designer was trying to understand like what we want, right? And so I think that in this case, just the AI understood it and was able to create it in like 15, 20, 30 minutes. We had like a sticker better and cheaper than what we had like several years ago for like much more money, and it took a lot more time. And that's just one little example of all the stuff that you can do now that you couldn't do 5 years ago, right? And so to your point about all the AI tools, like now you can like move way faster, test out ideas way faster, fail much faster as well, but that's a good thing. Failure is not a bad thing. They teach us in school it's a bad thing. It's really not. Like it's all learning experiences, right? So you can fail faster and just get to where you need to be faster, like by using all the tools that are available. And you're right. Like I don't think there's ever been a better time to start a company than there is today.
It's like start as fast as you can,
and exactly, and just start. Like I think part of it is the overthinking aspect of it. It's I just want to repeat this whole bias towards action, which has worked so well for us. It's like move, just don't sit still, right? It's like just keep moving, right? Even if you're moving in the wrong direction and you have the ability to undo, like what we said before, just go, right? And then like adjust as you go along, as you talk to customers, as you talk to people that are advising you. Just keep going and course correct as you're going. That's, in my opinion, the thing that's probably done the most for us and helped us get to where we are today.
I agree.